So just a formal welcome to everyone and to Courtney. Thank you for joining us and welcome to your Vice Prim Caucus. So how it's going to work is you're going to give your speech to us once I'm done explaining here, and then once you're done with your 5-minute speech, then I will move on to your Q&A section, which I will explain once we get there. So you are more than welcome to start whenever. I'm done, and then when you have 30 seconds left of your speech, I'm going to put my camera back on, and then you can just finish off, and then we can get going with the questions. So relax and enjoy.
Thank you. Are you keeping your video on, Cuddly? Sorry. Oh, thank you. As I sit on the other side of the computer screen, I wish some things were different. I imagine myself standing on a stage talking to thousands of people explaining why I should be the next Vice Primaria of Aristia. But quickly I'm snapped back into reality and I'm just an ordinary girl sitting at my desk talking to a screen as to why I should be the next Vice Primaria. So here it goes. A good leader possesses a clear vision, is courageous, has integrity, honesty, humility, and clear focus. And as I speak these words, it becomes clear to me that I need to place myself in each of these characteristics. Clear vision. This has been in my mind since day one of stepping into Aristia during second welcoming. A time in my life where Aristia's song simply describes it best. In a time of mass confusion, where everything is strange and new, I join a sisterhood, my home away from home, a group I know that will carry me through. And that's exactly what happened. It was a place where I felt safe. Even though I'd come a few weeks late, it was like I'd missed absolutely nothing. This is the kind of place I want to create for other people. A place where they feel they don't need to go anywhere else. Everything I mentioned above, I feel has become my mission and vision for Aristia. I want everyone to be involved. I want to create a space where I wake up every morning and they feel proud that they are a member of Aristia. I want to make every single newcomer feel valued, accepted, and welcomed, just as I was. I would want to create the initiative of building relationships within the Aristia community and encouraging others to partake in all leadership development opportunities that arise. Just as Joss, our previous Vice Primaria, was involved in arranging leadership development workshops, I would like to continue that initiative and add some more ideas to the concept. I would continue with the leadership development workshops, but alongside that, really dig deeper into self-love and self-worth that each Aristia individual should have for themselves, truly creating that safe space and community. If I were given the role of Vice Primaria, I would have the ability to touch individuals' lives just as mine was touched, and for me, that would be an honor. I'm a person who is goal-driven, enjoys a bit of a challenge, and is someone you can rely on being trustworthy and honest. The idea of being courageous is almost as if you are fearless, that you won't let anything get in the way of your vision. As I speak these words into existence, I really feel my weakness creeping in, as if it's sitting on my shoulder just waiting for its cue. My weakness is doubt, a very short but yet powerful word. Doubt of not doing enough, doubt of letting people down, and doubt of not delivering. But the way I overcome my doubt and weakness is simply by putting my all into every single task that I do. Setting up realistic yet incredible goals, constantly reminding myself that I'm doing my best and remembering all that I have done. Something I remember clearly and can say is a good skill to have was back in welcoming week. Close your eyes and visualize. Everyone is out in the sun, moving into their new homes, out for a coffee with a new friend, or simply walking down the streets of Stellenbosch. And where is Courtney, you may ask, in all of this? Well, she is up in her room, absolutely ecstatic that she gets to make and design the mental posters that will be held up during welcoming. The task that might seem boring to others was absolutely everything I enjoyed. I'm affirmative, cohesive, pace-setting, and many long words and descriptions. But the one that stood out the most to me was being an affiliative leader, one who creates an emotional bond and harmony. And this links extremely close to one of the portfolios of Vice Primaria that I'd really enjoy doing, internal relations. With regard to the idea of what I'm expecting from the role and what my fellow HE members could expect from me is simply a helpful person. Someone who is willing to go the extra mile and always finds ways to allow people to build new friendships and relationships with others. I'm extremely structured and organized, a skill and characteristic that I have. Some people would say I'm a little OCD, and as I look at my desk and see that my candle isn't in the right place, maybe that's a little true. My teammates can expect a person who puts in immense effort, a person who will always be there for any task that needs to be done, and as a support system for those around me. I want my teammates, Aristia, and myself to grow. I want everyone around me to feel the change in the atmosphere we surround ourselves in. I'd simply like to end off with a quote. A good leader is the person who takes a little more than their share of the blame and a little less than their share of the credit. I hope I can be this leader for Aristia, and I hope you all put a little faith in me to show you what I have in store. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Courtney. We will now be moving on to your Q&A session. So I will be asking you one standardized question that we're asking for everyone, and then I'll open it up to the panel to ask you a question as well. So your standardized question is, what would you be doing if you were not doing this? So what would you be doing on campus if applying for Aristia leadership was not an option?
Wow, that's a really good question. Yeah, I actually have never thought about that. But if I had to say, I've recently started a journey on influencing on Instagram. So I think I would definitely use that opportunity and platform on social media in order to help other students around me to, like I said in my speech, feel self-love and self-worth in every aspect. I would definitely incorporate just little tips and tricks on how study life is and courses I might find in leadership just that I can have in my CV for one day when I eventually apply for a job. So I just think using social media platform as a way in connecting with students on campus.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm actually going to kick us off with a question, and then if the panel want to ask anything after that, you're more than welcome to. You mentioned in your speech and actually in your answer just now about mental health and using your platform, but I wanted to know, how are you going to advocate for mental health practically in your term, especially amongst the HC, where you play a big role in interpersonal relations as a vice primaria?
Okay, yeah. So I think living in the hub this year has really given me like a one-up on the situation. Seeing how the HE of this year has dealt with certain situations or tension in the house. I think it's definitely helped me to understand what goes on behind the scenes. So I would definitely, in the beginning of my term, set certain boundaries or house rules. I would want everyone to feel that they should be accountable of something, that if they've done something wrong and they don't know what they're accountable for, it's kind of difficult to not put the blame on other people, but to distinguish where the situation or the source of the situation has come from. So I definitely think I would set boundaries and house rules from the beginning of my term in order to make it a little bit easier with communication. Also giving people the skills and tools in order to deal with conflict themselves and not always involving other people as a third party, if I could say. Just giving them the skills in order to try and figure out the situation by themselves. And with regards to mental health, with the students and Aristia members, I think I would incorporate little workshops or little yoga sessions or little workout sessions that everyone could partake in. Also just to relieve the stress. Also workshops where we could have guest speakers talking about the importance of mental health and how important it actually is to look after your mental health. And yeah, I think I would incorporate all of those aspects into my term as vice primaria.
Thank you very much, Courtney. Does anyone else have a question for Courtney? Just go for it.
Hey, Court. So my question for you is to do with your application.
Yes.
So in your application, you stated that some of your weaknesses are in being a people pleaser, taking things to heart, and having a lack of confidence in yourself. So I just want to know, how are you going to ensure that these will not affect you in your position as vice primaria and needing to be a solid support to your Prim?
Sorry, Josh, can you just repeat the last part of that question? I think I missed it. The connection was a little bad.
Sure. So how are you going to ensure that these weaknesses will not affect your position as Vice Prim in needing to be a solid support to Marge?
Okay. Yeah. So I think in order to be a solid support system, I would have to have confidence in myself. And I think I'm very much learning to have a lot of confidence in myself and take things very lightly. In the past, I used to be very much a person who would take everything to heart, and I'm definitely working on that and myself. I want to be approachable, which is also one of Aristea's values, approachability. I want to be able to allow people to think that they can come to me whenever they need anything. Yeah, so I think just believing in myself and being who I am and truly showing everyone who I am, I think it's enough. I know those are certain weaknesses, but I do deal with them in my own time and in my own personal space. I feel like I don't really pass it on to people around me, and I would hate for anyone to have to deal with all my weaknesses as well. So I'm definitely working on it, and I am trying my absolute hardest to be more confident in myself. And I think living in the hub this year, it really has helped me build my confidence and believe in myself a little bit more. So I hope that believing in others will help me believe in myself as well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Courtney. I think Puka might have a question for you. We'll just wait.
Yes, he does. Hi, Courtney. So my question is regarding the dynamic between you and the Primaria, right? So in a leadership structure, usually it's expected that the two executives have a very tight bond, or rather work really well together. So how would you manage a situation whereby you and the Vice Prim really are not seeing eye to eye? It's just bad, things are not going well. And then secondly, how would you hold the Prim accountable in situations whereby they need to be held accountable?
Okay. Yeah, thank you for asking. As I now know who the Primaria is of 2021/2022, I think Marge and I have a very good relationship. If I were to be announced as Vice Primaria, I definitely think we would have to set boundaries between personal and work relationships. There will probably arise some situations where we don't agree on certain things, but that is where you have to put your pride aside and realize that she is the Primaria. In certain situations, I will not always get my way, or she will not always get her way. But we have to work together as a team, and I think that is the most important thing with regards to having the rest of our HE also put in their opinions and ideas for certain concepts. And the second part, I have forgotten your question. Would you mind please repeating it quickly?
How would you hold the Prim accountable in situations where you have to?
Yes. Yeah, I think I would hold her accountable simply by being a little bit more stern. I think I am a very soft-hearted person, but when things need to get done, I'm a very organized person, and I will make sure that they need to get done when they need to get done by.
Thank you, Courtney. We have time for one more question. Does anyone on the panel have a question? Otherwise, I will shoot one in there. Okay, it doesn't look like there's a question. So I have a question for you. You mentioned quite a bit in your answers about living in the hub. What advantage do you think living in the hub this year has given you for the term to come? And do you think there are any disadvantages?
Don't think there are any disadvantages. I think everything that I've learned in the hub has definitely helped me to be the person I am today. Advantage-wise, I do definitely think it was an advantage, sorry. But yeah, just seeing the behind the scenes, I think a lot of people, especially during welcoming week, just kind of see the front face of Aristea's HC team, and they don't see the work and effort that actually goes in behind it. And that really opened my eyes to what actually goes into being an HC member. And just the dynamics of the whole HE team and how they come together during situations and how they deal with certain situations. They have such an incredible bond that I am just so grateful I got to be a part of in certain aspects. And they just flip an incredible woman, and they've really, really, really come through this past year to make everyone feel welcomed in the hub. And I hope that if I am to stay in the hub next year again, that I can just continue that feeling of just you are always welcome into RSD. And it's exactly the same feeling that I got in second welcoming with the previous HE members as well. They just the dynamics that how the team works and everything is just incredible. So I really think it was a very big advantage to the person I am today.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And that is about all we have time for as well. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a lovely evening further.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.